we will go by the child's initials KK this afternoon, as this motion hearing pertains only to the youngest child in this case.
Would you go ahead and state your name, please?
Jasmine Hafford,
And how are you related to this case?
the case manager.
Ms. Hafford, we're here today asking for a change in placement for the child KK. Is that correct?
Correct.
And first of all, how's he doing?
He's doing well.
Okay. And where is he currently placed?
He is currently at Miss Linda's home as of right now, but he's placed with Miss Chandler.
Okay. And I believe he was placed with Miss Linda temporarily at the last court date.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how's he been doing in our home?
And doing great.
Okay. Any concerns at all since he's been there?
No, ma'am.
All right. Prior to being at the home of Miss Smith, I believe you said he was placed with Miss Chandler.
Correct.
That's his official placement.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you're asking the court today to change that placement. What concerns has the network had in regards to his placement with Miss Chandler?
Our concerns that Miss Minnie Chandler and Mr. Chandler were overwhelmed with the older children that are placed in the home. The
I would
older
object
children.
as to speculation, Judge.
Your Honor, that wouldn't be necessarily.
Overruled.
Okay.
Overruled.
You can continue.
And the second, another concern was the caregivers being unwilling to protect KK from his mother.
Objection, speculation again, Judge.
Overruled as to the concerns. You may continue.
In the sense of mom's testing and the rules that were set forth and the rules not being followed out.
Okay. Well, first of all, what rules are you referring to?
Once mom tested, we asked caregivers to that all visitation be supervised with mom, and that mom wear our version of PPE, which is long clothing, long sleeve shirt, long sleeve pants, wash her hands due to the testing.
Okay. And now, has mom been testing when asked?
No.
Okay. When was the last time mom submitted to drug testing?
I believe February the 17th.
Okay. And when did you request that she drug test again?
Was requested, let's say last week. Let me double check. She was asked to test on April the 24th.
Okay.
In
Was
which she
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
in which she stated that she was in court that day and wouldn't be able to. And so I asked if she could test the next day, which was a Friday. And then I checked in last week on Tuesday to ask her, was she able to take the test? And she stated that she did not.
And did she tell you why she did not?
Yes, ma'am. She said that she thought that she had notified me that she couldn't, but she said that she couldn't take off of work. She said that she works Monday through Friday from 7 to 7 for home health care with a client, and that she is needing at least a 3-day notice before she's able to take off.
Okay. Now, you said prior to the April testing, it was February she tested?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Was she requested to test in March?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when in March was she requested to submit to a drug test?
Judge, I'm going to object as to relevance. If we're moving a child, it's because there's a safety issue in the home, and I don't know that my client's compliant with services is relevant to that.
Your Honor, I believe it.
Mm.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
Overruled, overruled.
She was asked to test March the 5th and March the 19th.
And on March 5th, did she tell you why she didn't test?
No, ma'am, I had no contact with her.
Did you attempt any contact with her?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you attempt to call her by phone or email her? How did you try to make contact?
Both ways, emails, phone calls, as well as reaching out to Miss Chandler, Miss Minnie.
Okay. And what was the second date in March that you requested that she test?
19th.
Okay. So between March 5th and March 19th, did you have any contact with her?
No, ma'am.
And on March 19th, how did you relate to her that she needed to go and submit to a drug test?
Donor pass was sent via her email.
And did she respond to that email?
No, ma'am.
After the 19th, were you able to, if it was the next day or a week from that time, were you able to reach her?
Yes, ma'am. She reached out to me, I believe that Friday. I don't know the exact date.
And what did she tell you when she reached out to you?
She stated that she no longer had a cell phone anymore, and that she was not living on her parents' property. She was living with a friend, couch surfing. She also stated that she was not currently on her medication due to not being able to afford it. We also discussed the options of what to do moving forward. We discussed substance abuse classes and things of that nature.
Did she admit to you at that time that she had been using?
She admitted that she had used prior. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When you say prior, what time frame are you speaking of?
She stated in February.
Okay. And you said you talked about a plan going forward. Can you elaborate on that a little bit further as to what, was there anything additional besides the services that she was already supposed to be participating in?
Yes, ma'am. We talked about the previous facility that she was in, Cypress Lake. I asked would she like to go back there to start over. She stated that that was not necessary. I told her that I had put in a request for a referral with ADAC to start over with ADAC, and that she needed to reach out so that she could get testing and resume her services.
Okay. So she felt like she didn't need to go back to rehab.
So,
Now, I believe you said you also asked her to test in April, and I guess the next day after an April court date. And I believe your testimony was that she did not take that test. And did you discuss with her any consequences of not taking her drug test when requested?
do not recall.
Do you recall what it was you said to her when she missed the April test?
No, ma'am. I have, other than checking in to ask her if she took the test, that was the only time I talked to her.
Okay. And when you talked to her in April and you asked her if she had taken the test, did you ask her why she had not taken it after she said that she hadn't?
Yes, ma'am. That's when she stated that she couldn't take it due to work.
Okay. Do you know how often, well, let me back up. Do you know when it was that she actually, I believe you said she's told you she moved in with a friend? Do you know actually the time that she, or the time frame when it was exactly that she moved?
No, ma'am.
But she didn't inform you until April
March,
in
the end
March.
of
Okay.
March.
Okay. And how long prior to that time had she been staying with her mother?
I am unsure. I had no contact with Miss Tulsa until the end of March.
Now, do you mean staying with her mother or staying on her mother's property?
I believe it's staying on her. I believe she was on her mother's property. So you're saying that you did not know when it was that she left her mother's property.
Correct.
Okay. Now you said you had no contact. Was it or what was the time frame that you did not have any contact with her?
Toward the end of February until the end of March, so about a month.
Okay. And what attempts did you make to contact her?
I placed phone calls, emails, and I reached out to Miss Minnie asking if she could let her know that I was looking for her and that I needed her to call me.
And did she finally call you or you had to call her?
She finally called me at the end of March.
Now, during the times that she was on her mother's property, do you know how much contact she had with the children that were there with her mother?
No, ma'am, I'm
Objection,
going to,
speculation.
I just asked how much, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Speculation.
no, ma'am,
Either you know or you
I'm
do you
unsure
know
of the
whether or not
exact
she
amount
had,
of time.
I'm sorry.
I'm unsure of the exact amount of time due to the living situation. She did see the children every day.
Okay, so she did see them every day. You just don't know about how much time she spent with the children.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Knowing that she was seeing the children every day, and this included Kieran, is it Kieran?
Okay.
KK?
Yes.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
Your Honor. Apologize.
Yes, ma'am.
So you don't know if she was having extensive contact, if she was having physical contact with the child. In other words, holding the child or touching any of the children.
Correct.
But what you do know is during that time or during a time frame that she was there, she was not drug testing.
Yes, ma'am.
Objection asked and answered. Objection
Okay.
leading.
And I believe
One more time, Mr. Buck.
I believe that's been asked and answered, and it's leading.
Sustained.
did it concern you that you were not able to, or she would not honor your request to drug test? And in
Objection leading
addition,
and asked and answered.
Overruled.
was it concerning the missed drug test in addition to the admittance of her use in February? Was it concerning that she was having daily contact with the children?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, in addition to the situation with the mother and her drug testing and having contact with the children, was there also additional concerns in regards to the child KK?
Did not hear you, Ms. Walker. Can you restate the question?
I said, in addition to the mother not drug testing and having contact with the children, were there other concerns in regards to KK that the network or the department was really concerned about as far as his care?
Yes, ma'am. As I stated earlier, the older children and their demanding needs, as well as Kieran's skin. He has eczema, and his flare-ups have been really bad. I had spoken with Miss Chandler about getting him an appointment and asking for a referral for a dermatologist to get his needs met.
Okay. And were there other concerns?
There was a concern about like I stated before in court, his shoes. The home has, I'm gonna say, plywood floor, and so of course anything going into his foot when he's running around. And so I had talked to Miss Minnie about shoes on numerous occasions.
And what was the response when you spoke with her?
She stated that she would get his shoes put on.
Okay. And to your knowledge, did she?
I am unaware.
I'm sorry.
Not while I was in the home.
You said not while you were in the home?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And if you, or when you showed up at the home and he didn't have the shoes on and was running around, did you bring it to her attention?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, as to the father, Mr. Smith, how has Mr. Smith how has he been doing in regards to his services?
Been doing good.
What all has he completed?
He has completed his psychological and his substance abuse assessment.
Mm-hmm. And did his psychological recommend any type of follow-up or counseling?
Yes, ma'am. We put in a referral for mental health services through Legacy.
And has he been able to initiate those services?
No, ma'am. We are still awaiting for an opening at Legacy.
Okay. And I believe you said he completed a substance abuse assessment?
Yes, ma'am. Through Council on Recovery.
And were there any recommendations based on that assessment?
Yes, ma'am. They recommended AA.
And has he started attending AA?
Yes, ma'am. Recently he did.
And do you know how many sessions or meetings he's been able to attend?
I'm not for sure. I know one for sure.
And now as to his housing, has he been able to locate housing?
Yes, ma'am.
And where is he staying at this time?
He is living in Highlands, not far from his mother, Linda.
And is he did he purchase a home, renting a home, or what is the, I guess, actual physical structure he's living in?
I'm not sure if he is renting or renting to own. I'm not sure.
Okay. But as far as you know, it is a house.
Yes, ma'am. He was able to show me pictures at the last court date.
Okay. Now, have you also requested the dad to drug test?
Yes, ma'am. He has taken drug and alcohol tests.
Okay. And have there been any concerns about, in regards to, first of all, his drug testing?
No, ma'am.
Have there been any concerns in regards to his alcohol testing?
The beginning, there were concerns with him not wanting to test. However, he has been testing as of lately.
Okay. Any concerns about his results?
No, ma'am.
Now you're asking that KK be moved to Mr. Smith's mother's home. Is that correct?
Correct.
And at this time, why are you requesting her home?
I believe that Miss Linda is able to provide a safe and stable housing for him, which will allow him to be in the home with one of his older siblings. One of the older sisters is placed with Miss Linda, and it will also allow him to build a relationship with his father, Mr. Smith, who is close in the area.
Okay. And at this time, Mr. Smith is the parent that's following and participating in what's been requested of him as far as his service plan.
Correct.
And would the goal be possibly that at some point that the children or Kieran or one or both of the children be able to be in the home with Mr. Smith?
Is the goal for Mr. Smith. He would love that.
Okay. And do you feel that it would be in the best interest of the child KK at this time to be placed in the home of his paternal grandmother, where one of his older siblings is placed, and close to where his father at this time, who's doing well?
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else you would like for the court to be made aware of?
No, ma'am.
Do you feel it's in KK's best interest at this time to be placed in the home of Linda Smith, his paternal grandmother?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Buck.
Hey, ma'am, is there when you're asked about safety concerns, it sounded like you said that the safety concern for the child was that he was running around barefooted in the area. Is that right?
Yes, sir. That is one of the concerns. Yes.
And this is a family that lives out in the country. Is that fair to say?
Correct.
And you made the request to the grandmother to put shoes on him, and she said she would do it. Is that correct?
Correct.
Do you have any evidence that she did not do it?
No, sir.
There were quite a few questions about mother's compliance with service plan. Is it generally the concern, the safety concern, is that my client, the mother's having unsupervised access with the children?
Can you repeat that for me, Mr. Book?
Is the network's concern that the mother is having unsupervised access with the children?
Yes.
Do you have any evidence of that?
No, sir.
Do you know where the mother's living now?
Do not have her physical address.
Okay. How often did you go out and visit the kids at grandmother's house, the maternal grandmother's house?
See them once a month.
So how many months have you gone out there?
I believe since August or September.
So it's 8 months or so, fair to say.
Yes, sir.
Okay, other than the shoe issue, were any of the kids, unclothed when you went out there, inappropriately clothed when you went out there?
Not that I can remember.
Did any of them appear to be malnourished or underfed when you were out there?
No, sir.
Did any of them have any unexplained injuries when you went out there?
There was an intake for Kieran. I don't know I can't recall the exact month, about a injury to his cheek. I believe
Okay,
it was his cheek.
let's make sure we're using the child's initials, please.
Sorry, KK.
And was that just a slight bruise or a bruise?
Yes, it was a bruise that grandmother stated that he fell on the concrete.
I'm sorry, you could repeat that?
His grandmother stated that he had fell on the concrete.
When you've gone out there, are these kids allowed to run around and play outside in the country? And would this type of injury be reasonably explained by her explanation and kids being kids?
Yes.
Does the department have any evidence that the maternal grandmother has missed taking any of these kids to a doctor's appointment and not made it up?
When you say doctor, you mean just doctor, no other types of?
I'm just asking about medical now. I'll ask you about the others.
Okay, not that I'm aware of.
Do any of these children see any types of specialists or need to see any specialists regularly?
No one currently sees a specialist. The oldest daughter is in need of a specialist for her dental work, and KK is in need of a specialist for his eczema.
Any concern that the grandmother won't be able to schedule and make an appointment for the dental work needed for the oldest child, for the daughter?
I am unaware if she has done so yet. We have discussed the option that is for her to use. I don't know if she's used it as of yet.
And the eczema, that's a new specialist that's been identified. Is that correct?
Correct.
So when was it determined that this child needed to go see a dermatologist?
Do not remember the exact month.
Any evidence at all that the grandmother is not appropriately addressing these two issues for these kids?
No, sir.
Fair to say that since we're leaving some of the children in this grandmother's care, that we don't have a safety concern for her ability to care for these children.
There is no safety concern for the older children. There is a safety concern for KK.
What safety concern is there that applies to one child and not the others?
As I stated earlier, being overwhelmed with the needs of the older children and not being able to protect Kieran from his mother.
KK, Ms. Hafford.
KK.
By protect, you mean possible unsupervised access?
That's part of it, yes, sir. And then the not having on the proper clothing during her visits.
Okay. Have you observed her visits with the children at the grandmother's place?
No, sir.
Okay. So do you have any evidence that she hasn't been properly clothed when touching or having physical contact with these kids?
I have spoken with my coworkers from Kinship who has observed her not being properly clothed.
Is that person present to testify today?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yes, she is. She is present.
Are we sure this isn't a situation where we're punishing a parent for not working services and reporting another one?
No, sir.
We're not sure, or we're not, that's not it.
That's not it. We're not punishing anyone.
And I apologize if I asked, do you know where the mother lives now?
I do not have her physical address.
But is it fair to say that it's not on the grandmother's property?
Is what she has stated to me.
Okay.
That it is not on the property.
It would be fair to say that this little child's barefooted shoe is a small thing, and the real concerns is the possible unsupervised access and possible inappropriate clothing when in contact with the kids. Those are the primary things.
Correct.
Okay. And this kiddo's been there 8 months or so?
No, sir. He was placed there in, I believe, December.
Okay. So it's 6 months or so.
I believe so.
Okay. If the concern was about how the visitation or contact with the mother and this child or the children is going, wouldn't making the visitation supervised by the department at the department's offices resolve these safety concerns?
I am unsure if it would resolve them.
But that's not what you want to happen, fair to say.
Can you repeat what it is?
You don't want visitation to stay, you don't want placement to stay the same.
No, I would not like placement to stay the same.
And were you present in the courtroom last week?
Yes, sir.
Did you observe anyone tell my client that if she fought this too much, the other children might be at risk of being moved?
No, sir.
Your Honor, I would object to that. That's a mischaracterization of something I believe I said.
Judge, I had conversations with my clients and I felt it was necessary to ask that question.
Overruled.
I passed the witness, Judge.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kinstall.
Thank you, Judge. All right. Ms. Hufford, what's mom's drug of choice, if you know?
Methamphetamines and amphetamines.
Okay, and is that the reason the network has asked for her to wear long sleeve clothing?
Yes, ma'am, due to testing positive.
Okay, because it's transdermal.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you been able to confirm that mom is no longer residing at maternal grandmother's property?
No, ma'am.
And I think you stated earlier you haven't been able to confirm that mom is living elsewhere either. Is that correct?
Correct.
So basically, you're just having to take the word of mom and her mom, right?
Correct.
Okay. Has maternal grandmother ever given you a reason to not trust her or to doubt what she's telling you?
Objection calls for a narrative answer, Judge.
It's a yes or no.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes.
Can you give an example?
For example, on my visit for the month of April, I went out, I had pre-asked for Ms. Chandler, Ms. Minnie, to have her daughter present, or asked her daughter to be present during the visit. However, when myself and Casa got there, she was not. During our visit there, I asked grandmother to call and see if she could come over for the visit. She stated that mom did not have a phone at the time, so she had to call her, the patient that she sees phone, and she said that she didn't get an answer. However, when I talked to the children, we talked to the children alone. One of the children stated that mom had her own phone, that they talked to her own. And so that showed that grandmother was not being honest with me.
Okay, so maternal grandma says mom doesn't have a phone, and kids say, yes, she does.
So,
And when you say you talk to the kids, are you talking about the teenagers or the little kids?
children.
All of them?
I talked to all the older children, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Have you received any pay stubs from mom for this caregiver job she says she has?
Yeah, ma'am.
Have you received a copy of the work schedule for mom's job that she says she has?
Ma'am.
Have you received any other verification that mom is employed as she claims to be?
Ma'am.
Is that part of her service plan that she's supposed to be working
Yes, ma'am.
and that she's supposed to provide proof of employment and income to you as the case manager?
Yes, ma'am.
I want to ask you some questions about the kids that are currently placed with maternal grandmother without using their names, right? We have KK, who is 2, right?
Correct.
And then there are 3 teenagers, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the youngest teenager is what, 15?
14.
14? Okay. Is it fair to say that the level of supervision that a teenager requires is going to be different than a 2-year-old would require?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, and I guess there's an argument to be made that for these 3 teenagers, they need a heightened level of supervision too, though, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The oldest boy in maternal grandmother's house, he refuses to go to school, right?
Correct.
Okay. And the oldest girl in maternal grandmother's house had truancy court recently, correct?
Ma'am. That
The
was the
second oldest.
second oldest girl.
Okay, I'm confusing my kids because they all have the same initials. Okay, what about the oldest girl? Is there a concern that she is also having frequent absences at school? Is that a yes? I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you, and by you, I mean the network, is the network asking to further restrict mom's visits based on everything that you testified to on direct in response to Ms. Walker's questions?
Judge, I would object as to relevance. That a change in visitation schedule hasn't been requested in any review.
Well, overruled. I want to make sure, however, that Ms. Hafford heard and understood the question.
Let me try to ask it
Can hear it.
in a not overly lengthy way. Is the network asking for mom's visits to be further restricted?
Are we talking about for all the children, or are we
Well,
just
okay, let me confirm something first with you. Are mom's visits with the children that are currently residing with maternal grandmother, the 3 teenagers and KK, are those visits supervised by maternal grandmother? Okay. Is the network asking for some other sort of arrangement to supervise mom's visits with those 4 children that live with maternal grandma?
not for all 4, just for change? We would like the placement for KK.
Mhm. Okay, so if KK is moved, if his placement is changed, then what will the visitation arrangements be between mom and KK?
They will be supervised
Okay, well, but by whom?
by either the network or by the caregiver, Miss Linda.
Okay, so not by maternal grandma anymore.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you agree it's probably more important for KK to have adequate supervision because of his age with
Correct.
mom?
Correct.
And because 2-year-olds put everything in their mouth, right?
Correct.
Their hands.
Yes, ma'am.
So if he touches mom and she's been using meth, then he could potentially ingest that, right?
Correct.
I want to ask you about, I know Mr. Buck said that, or you said in response to Mr. Buck that you visit the house monthly, maternal grandma's home, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's talk about your attempt to visit maternal grandma's home in April. Did you attempt to visit maternal grandma's home last month, April 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
How many times did you attempt to visit?
I believe 3 times.
And were you successful any of those 3 times?
Was successful on the last attempt.
Okay. Were they all pop-up visits?
The first one was unannounced.
Okay. And what happened that you were unable to visit that time?
Miss Minnie stated that none of the children were home at the time.
Okay. And did you subsequently find out that that was true or not true?
I pulled into the yard to turn around and I observed her outside playing with some younger age children, but I could not verify who the children were.
Okay. And that was immediately after she told you that they weren't home?
That the children were not home. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what about the second attempt to visit the maternal grandma's home last month? Was that an announced visit?
Yes, ma'am. The day before when the unannounced was supposed to, tried to take place, she stated that we could do it the next day. So it was a planned visit.
And were you able to visit that following day?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
She stated that I believe the oldest child would not be home. She was still somewhere else. And she stated that one of her other grandchildren were sick and was going to be having to go to the hospital.
Okay. And were you able to confirm whether or not all of that was true?
No, ma'am.
And then the third visit attempt, is that the one that was successful, or was there another unsuccessful visit attempt?
I believe that one was successful.
Okay. And were you able to see all 4 children placed in maternal grandmother's home on that visit?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you have any concerns about the cleanliness of the 2-year-old during your April visit?
Cannot recall.
Okay. So is it fair to say that your interactions with maternal grandmother in connection with your attempts to visit in April, would that be another reason she gave you not to trust her?
Yes, ma'am.
Dad, Mr. Smith, he's in compliance with this service plan, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Dad's never tested positive on an ETG drug test for alcohol, right?
Correct.
He has a breathalyzer in his car too, in fact.
That is what he has stated. I have never seen the breathalyzer.
But didn't he send you pictures of it?
I do not recall.
What about his last hair test? When was that?
I do not recall.
Have you visited Dad's new home yet?
No, ma'am.
But I think you said earlier you've seen pictures of the house,
Yes, ma'am.
and that is close to paternal grandma, right?
Correct.
And right now, KK is on a visit to paternal grandma's, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then paternal grandma's got is she 9?
9 or 10.
Okay. So a child that's closer to KK's age than the 3 teenagers at the other grandma's house, right?
Correct.
Does Dad have any children living with him right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and is that Grayson?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and he's not part of this suit, right?
No, ma'am.
He's 7 years old?
I am unsure of his age.
Okay. And how did he come to live with Dad, if you know?
Dad stated that CPS reached out to him to pick up his son.
What happened to Mom, if you know?
He stated that Mom was incarcerated.
Okay. So why not ask the court to place KK with his dad instead of Dad's mom?
Mr. Smith has not said that he wanted the child placed with him. We discussed the child last week, and he was in agreement with the child being placed with his mother.
When did you talk to him?
On the 30th when we had court.
Okay. Well, if I was to tell you that he would like placement of KK, do you have any reason to disbelieve what I'm representing to the court?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so other than you think that Dad doesn't want KK, are there any other reasons why the network is not trying to return that child to a parent at this time?
I would have to refer that to my supervisor.
Okay. All right, I'll pass the witness. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you, Mr. Keating.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Hafford, this is not about the parents being good or bad or trying to punish one over the other, is it?
No, sir, it's not.
In fact, when you first brought this to my attention, it was more concerns on KK's appearance and care. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, Miss Chandler, and it's also not that she's a bad person, is it?
Correct.
Are you concerned that KK is being overlooked because of the problems with the older children at the maternal grandmother's house?
Yes, sir.
And it's a small home, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And the network is happy that Ms. Chandler has stepped up and was taking care of KK and the other 3 children that are there, correct?
Correct.
But as you responded to Ms. Gunsel, you've had some issues getting in touch with Miss Chandler, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
Quite a few, as a matter of fact. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And are you aware that CASA has also had troubles?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I think we need to clarify which Miss Chandler.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's make it Minnie Chandler. Thank you, Miss Bythewood.
Sure.
If we could
I think-
use since I'm new to the case,
I'll
Judge,
use
if we could use
grandmother.
grandmother and mother, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
You bet. I can do that, Mr. Buck. Not a problem. There's a lot of people in here.
Well, we actually need to do maternal grandmother, paternal grandmother.
I was gonna try to do that, Judge. Now I forgot where I was. No, you have actually had quite a bit of trouble getting in touch with maternal grandmother, right?
Correct.
And I think I asked you that CASA has also expressed difficulties too.
Correct.
Are you aware that CASA actually sent out an email asking us, attorneys ad litem and attorneys, to try to assist her in that?
Yes, sir. She talked to me about it.
Okay. That's a concern too, because you do need to talk to the maternal grandmother whenever you try to get in touch with her to find out how the children are doing, don't you?
Correct.
And let's go back to the issues about the dermatology referral for KK. That didn't happen in the last 30 or 20 days. It's been going on for a couple of months now, hasn't it?
Correct.
And unfortunately, maternal grandmother just hasn't followed up with getting that done, has she?
No, sir.
How long have you been trying to get, and I don't know which girl it is, the dental appointment?
The oldest girl, I am unsure.
Over a month?
I want to say yes. It was our last court hearing, and I believe that was at the end of March.
Okay, not the one we had last week, but the one that was the end of March.
Sir.
Okay. Have you had a chance to visit KK at the paternal grandmother's house?
No, sir.
Have you talked to the paternal grandmother about how he's doing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and she's here too, so she can testify as to how he's doing. But do you have any concerns with KK being placed there?
No, sir.
Otherwise, you wouldn't ask that happened, would you?
Correct.
Okay. Sorry. Robotic vacuums are great, except when they come on in the middle of Zoom. Now, KK has been placed with Miss Smith, paternal grandmother, before, has she not? Has he not?
Yes, sir.
And the reason for that removal, or the main reason for it, was that the father was still living with paternal grandmother, right?
He was.
And at the beginning of the case, he wasn't real cooperative, and I'm trying to say that nicely. Is that correct?
Correct.
But he has become much more cooperative and has done just about everything the network has asked, right?
Correct.
So it's not just a reward to him, it's kind of a reward to KK to get to know his dad a little bit better, isn't it?
Correct.
And after all, the children right now are kind of who we're interested in, isn't it?
Correct.
I in no way, shape, or form want to malign the maternal grandmother. She has stepped up and taken on a big role, hasn't she?
Correct.
That being said, as Ms. Kunsel asked and stated, and you responded to, we have the oldest child, the oldest boy, who just flat refuses to go to school, doesn't he?
Correct.
Now, in maternal grandmother's defense, she did find a place in Lufkin for him to go to. Is that correct? Or are you aware of that?
When you say a place, what do you mean?
A school in Lufkin.
She stated that she had found a school.
Did she give you any information about that?
No, sir.
Okay. And then we have the youngest girl, is it correct, that just went to truancy court, correct?
Youngest girl at the maternal grandmother's house, yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the youngest girl, the youngest of the girls is at the maternal grandmother's house, right?
At the paternal, yes.
And do you know how she gets along with KK?
She gets along good.
She kind of mother him a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Do you believe it would be good for her also if KK were there?
Yes, sir.
Do you believe it would be good, beneficial, and a situation that it would allow KK to grow if he were placed with paternal grandmother?
Yes, sir.
I would object as to speculation, Judge.
Overruled.
Now, we have to look at what the parents are doing in this case to some extent because the kids are dependent upon what they do as to where they're going to end up long run, aren't we?
Correct.
So basically, mother is not doing anything the department has asked her to do, the network. I'm sorry, I'm old school. I'll never get out of that. The network has asked her to do. Is that correct?
Correct.
In fact, you can't even hardly stay in touch with her on a regular basis. Is that correct?
Correct.
On the other hand, the father is doing everything you've asked him to do, right?
Correct.
And at this point, I believe Ms. Kunsel also asked you that you're considering, if he continues, possible placement with him. Is that correct?
I referred this question to my supervisor.
Okay, well, I understand right now, right?
You broke up on me, Mr. Keating, so I didn't get to hear
Sorry.
you.
Goals haven't changed, have they?
No, sir.
No further questions of this witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bythewood.
Just briefly, Ms. Hafford, this is a non-emergency request for moving a child. Is that correct?
Correct.
And in looking at policy, pretty much both houses are equal. You both have relatives who have close relationships with the child. Is that correct?
Correct.
The child is bonded to both grandparents. Is that correct?
Correct.
There are siblings in both houses. I mean, full-blooded siblings in both houses. Is that correct?
Correct.
There are a few differences in the behaviors of some of the siblings in one house versus another. Is that correct?
Correct.
Are there any behavioral concerns in the paternal grandmother's home at this time?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And at this time, do you have one parent who is more trustworthy with visitation than another?
Yes, ma'am.
Which parent would that be?
Mr. Smith.
And which child in this case is most vulnerable?
Okay.
And in looking at the totality of the circumstances, it is in the best interest of that child to be moved from the maternal grandmother to the paternal grandmother's home?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you aware that the youngest daughter, we have I represent two ASs. I represent the oldest AS and the youngest AS. The youngest AS, she wants to live with her grandma and she wants her grandma to have custody, paternal grandmother. Is that correct?
Correct.
And the oldest AS, she's 17 and she's been more of an adult than anybody. Is that correct?
Correct.
And so realistically, are those children's desires going to have a very heavy weight at the end of this case?
I believe so.
All right. And if there's anybody talking to these children and weaponizing this situation regarding so-and-so getting custody over so-and-so, would you ask that none of this is discussed with the children?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, they have enough stress on them that they should not have on them. And they should never have a parent or grandparent, anybody telling them that they're going to end up someplace where they feel unsafe or uncomfortable. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And again, if that's a parent, if that's a grandparent, if that's the network, if that's an attorney, nobody needs to be talking to these kids like that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I think that's all I got. I just went through policy. Pass a witness.
All right, thank you. Back to you, Ms. Walker.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
All right, any other questions of Ms. Hafford, Mr. Buck, or Ms. Kinstall?
Judge, I have a couple of follow-ups.
All right. You may.
Ma'am, since you've been on this case, has the mother had the same phone number the whole time?
As far as I'm aware, yeah.
Okay. Have you ever had times when it just went straight to voicemail and you couldn't get it to even ring on you?
I am unaware, unsure.
Now, does the maternal grandmother have other grandchildren, nieces and nephews that live in the area?
I am unsure.
Yeah. Okay. I pass the witness, Judge.
All right, thank you. Ms. Walker, you may call your next.
Thank you, Your Honor. I call Ms. Young.
All right, and Ms. Young was sworn in. We'll get her unmuted and you may proceed.
Would you go ahead and state your name, please?
Ashley Young.
And how, excuse me, how are you related to this case?
I'm the case manager supervisor.
And now you've heard the testimony of Ms. Hafford. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you have any additional concerns or anything else that you feel like the court needs to be made aware of?
Objection, calls for a narrative.
Overruled. You may answer.
Nothing additional. Nothing additional than what Ms. Hafford spoke about.
And do you feel it's in the best interest of the child KK at this time to be placed with his paternal grandmother?
Yes.
Objection relevance, Judge. There's no evidence that she's ever been to this home or visited with any of these children at all.
Overruled. Actually, Ms. Walker, let me hear the question again, please.
Did she feel it was in the best interest of the child KK at this time to be placed in the home of his paternal grandmother?
All right, she overruled. She may answer that.
Yes, I do.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Buck.
Ma'am, do you and your, so you're the case manager supervisor, is that correct?
I am.
And I apologize, I do a couple different counties and some of them have traditional caseworkers who work directly with CPS, and some of them are in the network. So it's effectively you're the supervisor for the caseworker. Would that be fair to say?
Correct.
Okay. Do you and your caseworker have network issued cell phones?
We do, yes.
Do they have cameras?
Yes.
Okay. Have you personally ever gone out and visited at the maternal grandmother's home?
No, sir.
Absolutely, Ms. Judge.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kinstall. Any questions of Ms. Young?
Yes, Judge. Ms. Young, have you and your case manager staffed a return home to dad for KK?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Why not?
When the concerns arose about KK, the initial plan was for him to move with back to his paternal grandmother, who lives close to the father. And at that time, the father was in agreement and did not have any objections to that. So it was not discussed.
Okay. So dad moved into a home last week, right?
From what I understand, yes.
And it was the week before that the network asked for a placement hearing, right?
I believe so, yes.
And then I guess just as a formality, there was a motion filed the day before court last week.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Reunification with a parent is a goal in this case, right?
Yes.
It's the primary goal? And I'm talking about just KK at this time.
Right. I can't recall off the top of my head. I would have to look at the plan.
Okay. That's all right. You probably didn't think you'd get testifying. Why is it not in KK's best interest? Well, you said it's in KK's best interest to be placed with paternal grandmother, right?
Correct.
Okay, so why is it not in KK's best interest to be placed with his father instead of a non-parent?
This time we don't know that it's in his best interest or not. We have not been able to evaluate the home. If he has a safe place for KK to sleep, anything like that. That's a new situation that we could staff about, that Jasmine and I could staff about. But at this time, we don't know. We don't have much information on it.
But it sounds like CPS in another county was okay with a 5-year-old living with him, right? With dad?
They placed the child with him. I'm not sure of that case.
Okay. Well, wasn't at least at one time there a restriction or a requirement that dad not have any, I guess, supervisory responsibilities for a child under the age of 18? Isn't that part of the service plan? Not allowed to have care. You're not supposed to be caring for a child under the age of 18.
It's not specifically in our service plans, but it is part of the general rules and guidelines.
Okay, but that was lifted, so to speak, when Grayson was placed with Mr. Smith. Is that right?
From the other county, not from our county, yes.
But I mean, TFC in Tyler County was aware that there was a 5-year-old living with dad, right?
Believe they sent Jasmine a text message on during the weekend. And I don't encourage my case managers to work on the weekend. So she did not see it until Monday. So it was a few days before she knew.
Okay, but we're not talking about this Monday, right? This is a couple weeks ago.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Okay, I'll pass the witness. Thank you, Ms. Young.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, Mr. Keating.
I don't have any questions of this witness,
Okay,
Judge.
thank you, Ms. Bythewood.
I have no questions.
Okay, thank you. Back to you, Ms. Walker. Any other questions or witnesses?
No further questions, no other witnesses, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Buck, you may call your first, if any.
I call the mother briefly, Judge.
Okay, all right. Ms. Chandler, if you will unmute, turn on your video, please.
Yes, sir.
And just let me know that you were in fact sworn in earlier
Yes, sir, I was.
in this hearing. All right, thank you. And Mr. Buck, you may proceed. And I may need to say at this point that I expect to need to take about a 10-minute break fairly soon. So you all just bear with me on that. I'll let you know when that happens. So, but Mr. Buck, you may proceed.
Ma'am, did you hear the concerns of the, I'm going to say caseworker?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you ever, actually first, where are you currently living?
I actually just moved an RV today. I've been working on it at Triple Creek RV park
Okay. When was the
off
last time
FM
you lived
1746.
Okay.
Sir,
When was the last time you resided at on your mother's property?
I want to say late January or maybe mid-February. I'm not
Did you ever
sure
have
the exact date.
Just did you ever have unsupervised visitation with your children while they were placed with your mother?
Yes, when it was allowed, before the restrictions were placed.
When were those restrictions put in place, if you recall?
I believe the day that my mom and dad found out about the failed drug test from Miss Hafford, and I was told I had to leave the property by my parents. I had 24 hours to leave the premises.
Since that time, have you had any unsupervised visits with the kids?
No, I'm not even allowed on the property unless both of my parents' vehicles are there and both my parents are present.
Now, you're opposed to moving this child, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you have concerns about the paternal grandmother?
Yes.
Okay. Now, has she had any children in her home that were removed and had to be moved?
Yes, my children, my older children.
Which children were previously in her home and had to be moved?
Ayla, Aiden, Aubrey, and Ariel were all removed in 2020.
Judge, I would object as to non-responsive and ask that be stricken so I can re-ask it and get initials for children since we're on YouTube.
I apologize.
It's okay. if you can answer this by saying oldest daughter, middle son, something along those
The-
lines, rather than the names of the children, I'll re-ask the
Oldest
question. Okay?
4.
Let me re-ask the question. Have you ever had, have any of your children been removed from the paternal grandmother?
Yes. A1 through 4. A1, A2, A3, and A4 have all been removed.
And what are their ages?
17, 16, 14, and 9.
And what is your understanding as the reason that those children had to be removed?
Well, the 14-year-old who at the time, I believe,
Your
was
Honor, I would ask that in lieu of the mother's testimony, the court could refer to the girls in chambers conversation. I'm concerned
Right.
about the sensitivity of this for the girls.
Okay,
And mom.
the court does recall and hereby takes judicial notice of that, so we can move on.
And ma'am, then with that in mind, ma'am, what are your concerns about any child being placed with the paternal grandmother?
Well, it would be referred to the things that my children have told me have happened to them, and the things that they have told the judge. I'm not sure what they told the judge. I just know what they told me, but I'm sure the judge can relate.
Judge, I'm having a challenge with that just because I am completely unaware of what might have been said. So it's difficult to represent my client on this motion without her being at least give a baseline about what her concerns would be.
In Your Honor, I believe that the mother and the children's story are 100% aligned based on what the mother has said in the past with her other attorney.
I apologize, but I don't have any kind of record or transcript, so I don't know what was said.
No, I understand. I was just trying to let you know that. But I mean, if y'all want to go off YouTube, however, I just wanted to make sure that I know I don't represent the other AS, but the oldest AS I still do, in her privacy, right to privacy supersedes any right for this to be a public hearing if we're going to get into that.
I agree, Your Honor.
All right, what I'm going to do, so were those having conferred with the children risen to such a level, I would not even countenance this hearing, right?
Right.
So what I'm going to do is place Ms. Chandler and Mr. Buck in a breakout room so that they might speak privately and confidentially, albeit virtually. And then I'll let me give you all about 5 minutes. We'll come back and see what, if anything, more you need to go forward, Mr. Buck. All right.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, thank you. All right, so stand by. And so Ms. Chandler, Tulsa Chandler, you may need to watch your screen and accept an invitation into a breakout room.
Yes, sir.
Bear with me.
Your Honor, while they're in a breakout room, off docket issue, may I update the court about something?
Yes, just a moment. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Okay, so oops, okay. All right. Do you see the invitation, Ms. Chandler? You can just accept it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and Mr. Buck, same. Okay. Okay, do we need to go into virtual chambers? Ms. Bythewood, get off of YouTube.
If we could just briefly go off YouTube.
All right. And this would be due to the right to privacy superseding any the public might have.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we'll be closing the courtroom.
I'm
With
sorry, Judge,
that,
did you say go ahead?
I didn't, but I'm about to. So with that, you may proceed. Thank you.
Ma'am,
Yes, sir.
right. Would your concern be for this child being placed with a maternal grandmother that there's the potential for them to be exposed to physical or emotional abuse?
Yes.
Objection leading.
Judge, that's my one question, to do it in a way that we don't have to, we can expedite this.
So I'm gonna overrule the objection. You may answer that.
Yes.
Ma'am, there's been a lot of questions about your drug testing.
Yes, sir.
If the court were to order you to drug test today, would it be positive for anything?
No, sir. A hair would show
It would-
methamphetamines and marijuana. A UA would show nothing.
Okay. And when was the last time you used?
Mid-February.
Have you been working any sort of program or just abstaining from drugs?
Abstaining currently because I work 7 days a week.
Okay. Does your work randomly drug test by chance?
Yes.
Okay. Judge, I pass the witness at this time.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kinstall.
Thank you, Judge. All right. Miss Tulsa, you're at your mother's house right now, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And your mother's present with you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is your dad home?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Those are all the questions I have. I pass the witness.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Did the panning show your father?
Yes, sir.
Was that
He was in the garage, Judge.
okay? All right. All right. Thank you, Mr. Keating.
I don't have any questions, Judge.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Bythewood.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Tulsa, your mother's property, it's a large piece of property, is that correct?
It's just under 1 acre.
Okay. And if you're living in town, that can be large, but it's completely fenced, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
In the front part of it, is there a play area for children that's well maintained?
Yes.
And even in the back part of it, your father does construction, so there are bits and pieces of stuff back there. Is that correct?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. King said that he was there, so.
Well,
Sorry, could you ask the question again?
okay, your dad does construction remodel, so there's
Yes.
construction equipment there, and I don't mean equipment like a dozer or anything, boards, trailers,
Yes,
that kind of thing. But even with that there, it's also well maintained. Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay. And even though your mother's trailer has boards pretty much for the floor, they're clean, aren't they?
Yes.
She maintains a clean home, doesn't she?
Yes, ma'am.
So, I mean, there's pluses and minuses because you've been in Miss Linda's home, is that correct?
Yes.
So there's pluses and minuses to both homes, but at your mother's home, there's a place for this child to pretty much run around and get some of that energy out. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that doesn't necessarily exist at Miss Linda's home, does it?
No, ma'am.
Okay. You understand what the concerns from the network are, don't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that's primarily why they're asking for this. You understand that, not to punish you, just to protect your child during this time.
Yes, ma'am. But my mother and my father have removed me from the property, and taken all necessary precautions. My mom has a set of clothes that I'm required to wear every time I step on the property. As soon as I step on the property, I'm expected to go straight to the bathroom and change.
And there's not been any testimony about your mom's property, and that's why I wanted you to tell the judge about where she's living. And it's right there on the highway, but not in a dangerous location, correct?
Correct.
So it's country, it's near the river. There's gonna be bugs, aren't there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But other than that, there's room for the child to move, correct?
Yes.
I'll pass you as a witness.
All right, thank you, Ms. Walker.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Back to you, Mr. Buck.
No additional questions, Judge.
Okay, thank you. Then you may call your next, if any.
I have no further witness.
All right, thank you. Ms. Kinstall, you may call your first.
No witnesses.
All right, thank you, Mr. Keating.
Your Honor, I'm going to call Ms. Escobar.
All right, Ms. Escobar, if you can unmute and resume your video, and let me make sure that you were sworn in earlier. I believe you were.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so just let us know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
And
I just have to
stationary.
close
All
the
right.
door.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And Mr. Keating, you may proceed.
Thank you. Be short, Ms. Escobar. Would you state your name and how you're related to this case, please?
My name is Gardenia Escobar, and I'm the Kinship case manager.
And quickly, have you visited or been at Miss Chandler, the maternal grandmother's home, when Tulsa Chandler has been there with the children?
Yes.
And did you see Miss Chandler visit with KK without appropriate restrictive?
Ms. Hope, you're still here, aren't you?
I'm here, Judge, finally.
Okay. Okay, so let's redo all of that because everybody except Ms. Hoke and I froze. Ms.
Escobar, did you hear my question?
No, can you repeat it, please?
I'll be happy to. I was afraid everybody froze, to me too. Have you been at the maternal grandmother's home when Miss Tulsa Chandler, the mother, has been there visiting with KK?
The time that I saw it was the oldest teenage boy.
That's who you were seeing?
Yes, she was there with him, and he was inside taking a nap.
Okay. Have you seen her with KK at all?
No.
Okay. I don't have any further questions then, Judge. I was under a misunderstanding. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Bythewood.
Have you seen the mother visit with KK without the necessary PPA or PPC or whatever that stuff is?
No, ma'am. Not with KK.
Okay. Nothing further.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Walker.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Buck.
No questions.
Okay, thank you, and Ms. Kinstall.
No, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, thank you, Ms. Escobar.
Yes,
And,
sir.
you can be excused if you need to, but then again, you may also stick around. So with that, Mr. Keating, you may call your next.
I have no further witnesses, Judge. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Bythewood, you may call your first.
I have no witnesses.
All right, the court will receive brief closing arguments, beginning with Ms. Walker.
Thank you, Your Honor. As been stated and through the testimony of the network feels it's in the best interest of the child, KK, that he be placed with the paternal grandmother. There's concerns in regards to the current placement with still with the mother having contact. I believe she testified that she may change clothes or she does take some type of precaution, but we still don't know if that's every time and really how much access that she has to the child. There's been some concerns that the network has expressed to the grandmother, Miss Chandler, in regards to especially with the situation with the floor and the child's protecting the child's feet. I don't believe that there's been testimony that that issue was resolved. And I don't believe it was just a matter of the child being exposed to a bare floor or a bare wooden floor, but that there were hazards with the floor. And that's why the network was asking that precautions be taken. In addition, we have the mother who's, I would say, avoiding drug testing for the past couple of months. She did admit to use and a relapse back in February, but then the next 2 months she still refuses to test, and when she's asked to test by the network. So there's some concerns. There's also the concerns with the other children that are in Miss Chandler's home and the situation that that's putting her in. Her hands are full with those children, but then also she has a small child that she's trying to care for as well. And in addition, Your Honor, we have a father. I don't think anybody would disagree. They got off to a very slow start, and I'd say slow and rocky start. But he's picked it up. He's was living in a shelter. He's been able to secure housing. So he has employment. So he's been doing the things that he needs to do, and that the network is asking him to do, which has not always been his attitude in this case. His mother, he has a child placed with him. His mother, I believe, also has one of his older children there in the home. And I believe through testimony, Your Honor, it can be determined that that home is less chaotic than the home of Miss Chandler, and that there would be extra time and attention that could be given to KK, and that he would need due to his age. I believe that it's and the evidence has shown that it's in the best interest that the child be moved to Miss Smith's home. I believe that the evidence shows that the situation that the father is in, that he would be a positive help to his mother if the child was placed in the home, and it would be in the child's best interest, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Buck.
Yes, Judge, just a second. Judge, I think from my view, this is one of a classic CPS motion setting to change placement, where we have a lot of feelings and not a whole lot of evidence. well, I know the concerns are there, but there's no firsthand witness or photos or anyone that testified that they saw the mother with the children unsupervised. There's same thing for inappropriate clothing, or that she was having physical contact without proper PPE on. The concern about the child running around barefoot, I'm sorry, I just don't see that as a risk to begin with. But even if it were, the caseworker testified that she mentioned it to the caregiver, and the caregiver responded that she would take care of it. And there's no evidence that she did not do that. The testimony that's before the court was that the children, every time the caseworker went out there and visited, were appropriately clothed and fed and hadn't missed any doctor's appointments. There apparently has been some delay about some recent specialists. Forgive me, but I'm not familiar with the area. Specialists for a teenager's dental issue and a child's eczema, that very well could be just a challenge finding a specialist in a rural area. I understand that they have concerns, and I don't know that I've been a part of a placement motion hearing where the moving from one relative to another, where the parent service plans were talked about so much, which very much gives me the concern that, this isn't just about best interest of the kid. There's something else going on that, between the parents, they don't, just something else going on here, Judge. I just don't think there's much evidence that there's a move is necessary. And in addition to that, there's the concerns about the history of abuse in the paternal grandmother's home as well.
All right, Mr. Bug, thank you. Ms. Kinstall.
Thank you, Judge. Well, we heard unrebutted testimony by the case manager that maternal grandmother has given her reason on a couple of different occasions not to trust her. That's the same maternal grandmother that's currently responsible for supervising her own daughter's access to the children that are placed with maternal grandmother at this time. And I think a reasonable person, and certainly a reasonable fact finder, could find that looking at those incidents together, it appears that maternal grandmother is covering for her daughter. And I think that's a concern. CPS, in their motion for placement that they filed on April 29th, it cites to dad's progress with his services as a reason for filing the motion for placement. That was a reason they said they were seeking a change of placement for KK, is that dad had made due to the father's progress. But they haven't done a return home staffing for dad for KK. CASA's not even here, right? So we don't know if CASA has visited, but Ms. Halford, the caseworker, said she hasn't visited dad's new home. And I understand that he's only been in that home for about a week, so I'm certainly not faulting the network. I don't understand why dad isn't being considered for placement with this child, particularly given the fact that CPS in another county placed a 5-year-old with him after mom went to jail. I think that may be an argument for another day. I would ask the court to order CASA and the network to go visit dad's house and see if there are any concerns. And then that way I can file a motion for monitored return and ask to come back on another hearing for that. All of this just happened kind of contemporaneously And so I don't think anyone has the evidence that they need at this time to address the issue of placing KK with dad. So obviously dad's second choice would be to change placement to be with his mom, paternal grandmother. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Kinsel, thank you, Mr. Keating.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just received some information that I was not made aware of before this hearing or even before the motion was filed. I think first, let me address Ms. Kunzel's points, which I think are well-founded, but I think it's a little early to consider a placement with the father. He's just really started getting after it, and I don't think that we have enough demonstration. I know that's a fabulous word.
Mr. Keating, my
Yes.
apologies. I believe Mr. Buck just dropped off.
Well, he did. We'll wait.
We'll give him a moment.
Do I need to repeat anything?
I don't have a chance to respond anyway, so I don't think there would be a need.
Okay, not a problem. But Your Honor, I think what I would like to urge the court to do right now is continue the placement with Ms. Smith on a temporary basis until I've had a chance to visit the home. I have not had a chance to visit. It's my understanding that there is an older young man there, a 19-year-old, that I need to go do some visitation with and make some recommendations to the court. So that would be my request, Judge.
All right, thank you, Mr. Keating. Ms. Blackwood.
I don't really have a recommendation. This isn't my child. I have been in both homes, and I do not share the same concern that the network has with the maternal grandmother's home at all. But again, I don't have a recommendation.
Ms. Blackwood, thank you. And Ms. Walker, back to you.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right, thank you. All right, let me begin by saying clearly, this is not about bare feet and plywood floors. This case, to be sure, was on a very different trajectory not too long ago. And but for mother's relapse, we might very well expect to be in the middle of a monitored return to her. Be that as it may, the court has concerns with the admixture of the older children and their needs and the 2-year-old KK. Not just their truancy, though given their respective truancies, they can't be doing anything productive and salutary when they're not in school, save and except dividing or taking the maternal grandmother's energy and attention away from KK. Nor is this a competition between grandmothers. I'm so grateful for both of them. Thank goodness for both of them. I don't even want to countenance where we would be without them in this case. We know where we might very well be. And I believe they took a very strong, very necessary, and quite frankly, an instructive step when they made mother leave almost instanter subsequent to her drug test back in February. So it's not that they are not a safe place for the children who are there. Now, frankly, the hearing was long on being conclusory and short on evidence. However, the standard of proof is quite low, and the risk is quite high. Safety is all of our paramount concern, and we always need to be, especially when there's so many moving parts in these cases and such long-standing, if not deep-seated issues and needs, we have to be all about concurrent planning. So to that end, I'm ordering the Texas Family Care Network to perform and complete within the next 2 weeks a reunification assessment on the father, Troy Smith. Now, further, the court is going to continue to take the department's motion under advisement. I'm neither granting nor denying the motion. It might seem to be kicking the can down the road, but that's really not what's going on beneath the surface. I am going to hereby continue the extended visit with Ms. Smith until agreement, or agreement one way or the other, or further order of the court. You all know that we have trial on June the 25th at 9 a.m. Our dismissal is July the 14th, 2025. So do you all have mediation scheduled yet?
Yes, Your Honor, we do.
And when is that?
The 20th, I do believe, Judge, the same day I'm in court in Angelina.
Oh, okay.
We need a protective order for Mr. Keating to come to mediation, please, sir.
I'm going to do it by Zoom in Angelina. So you may have to stand in for me for a little while, Amy. I am more than confident that you can do that.
All right. Well, I'm not. Then I wish you all well at mediation, and we'll certainly navigate that time conflict. All right. So parents, remember, and I do want to say, Mom, Ms. Chandler, I'm very proud of how you've handled this of late.
Yes, sir.
But I think you know how to do this, okay?
Yes, sir.
I think you know how to do this. And these relapses arguably are part of recovery, but they really need to become farther and fewer between and eventually just dry up. You'll always have recovery. That's fine. Okay. So keep doing what you're doing and not doing what you're not doing, but you're going to have to, I think, find something else other than just staying busy. Okay?
Yes, sir.
And just working, 7 days a week. So don't.
Sir.
So remember, I told you a long time ago, don't tell me, show me. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you keep increasingly taking better care of your children's mother. They need you. They want you. They love you and they deserve you. Fierce. Right? So
what about visitation of
get that mask on yourself, and then you can tend to them. All right. I don't want your visitation to be to become less. I don't know how we can. It needs to be supervised, and unless and until you and I both know that meth will get out of your system roughly, generally, in 3 days. So it's going to need to be PPEs full, at least visiting with KK,
Yes, sir.
until we are free and clear of any methamphetamines.
Yes, sir.
Those levels have to go down precipitously and fast,
Yes.
as possible, as fast as possible, given one's metabolism.
Yes, sir.
So, I want the mom, Ms. Young, Ms. Hafford, to be visiting, and I know there's a distance between, obviously Woodville and Highlands, but you all work that out, and I want mom visiting at least weekly, and at least for 2 hours weekly. So, and and if we can put up some, I wouldn't object if you all could arrange this to where, even the maternal grandmother could still supervise with the right safeguards in place, as long as the concerns are recent and so serious. But I'm going to defer that to you all.
Okay.
I think you all can do better at that. And by you all, I mean, the attorneys in the network, and CASA.
Okay.
So I don't know why CASA was not here today.
I believe she may have become sick. She talked to Jasmine yesterday and she wasn't feeling well.
Okay.
So something may have come up.
Okay, well, I hope she's feeling better, much better. But I don't think it would have changed my opinion, but I certainly need to hear from them. So, in a sense, the attorneys for the children were, in a sense, wearing 2 hats today. So that's the ruling of the court. The court finds that it's in the best interest of the child, KK, the subject of this hearing. So anything else from anyone else?
I have one question, Your Honor.
Okay, and don't let me forget to admonish the parents if I haven't already. So yes, please.
Regarding the oldest child, she is closer to 18 than 17. She can legally be a parent or go to prison. Can she just visit with her mother as she chooses? I mean, she's been
I think I've said yes to that before, and it's still a yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still a yes. She's a grown woman.
And she's been saying that for at least 5 years now.
Well, I'm making no finding how long she's been that.
Right.
But yes, and I yes.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just common sense, so I appreciate it. And she
Okay.
does too.
And the point is, it does not have to be supervised. Yes, and it can be as frequent as I can't even say ALS because we have several of those, so, but as frequent as the oldest wants.
Judge, I have another court calling me to get started on a trial. Would it be acceptable since you've made your ruling, may I be excused?
You may, Mr. Buck. In fact, we're going to excuse everyone. So my apologies to whomever that might be, Judge Tucker or whomever.
Judge James. So.
Judge James. Yes, my apologies. We can share. So, all right. So you're excused, Mr. Buck. Everybody's excused. Thank you all very, very much. Please take care. Admonishment. Yes, Mr. Buck. All right, Mom and Dad, remember that if at the end of this case, if you're not willing and able to provide a safe environment for your children, your parental rights may be further restricted or even terminated permanently. I know you both understand it. I know that neither one of you wants that to happen. So keep doing what you're doing and not doing what you're not doing. Work your services and do the all-important demonstrate. All right, so we'll see you all back 6:25, 9 a.m. final trial. Good luck in mediation. We'll see many of you Friday in Jasper County. Please take care.
Thank you, Judge. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.